This video may be a little bit longer than normal because it's just too much information. I miss the days of being on fire. Damn. What up, guys? You guys are tuning into NickyMGTV for another military video for all your military video needs. So this video is going to be about how to advance within the Navy. But if you have other questions, you can always make sure that you get your questions answered on Instagram, Snapchat, which are going to be listed down below. You can direct message me and I will respond to you. Or if not, you can always leave it down in the comments below and I'll respond to you there. But please be patient. Thank you for the support. We just hit 3,500 subs. We're on the road to 10K subs. And if you're new to the channel, make sure that you throw that freaking subscribe button because I'm tired of you guys not pressing it. It's making me real sad. But love you guys. Either way, I want to talk about how to advance within the Navy because each branch has its own way of advancing. And there's not much information about it and everyone just thinks they're going to join the Navy and they're going to just be the best sailor ever. It doesn't really happen that way. And that's because I had the same idea. I was like, oh, I deserve it. I'm going to be great. I'm going to destroy everything and be awesome. And I'm going to be great at being in the Navy. But there's other things that happen. Within the Navy, you have a couple components which are going to determine if you advance or not. First one is going to be the test. In the Navy, we take tests, similar to the Air Force, where I think we're the only two branches that do take tests. That is something to consider because if you're not a good test taker, it may be a little bit tough for you, okay? And I'm not saying that should determine whether you should join the Navy or not. I'm just giving you a little insight heads up. It is a 175 question test, which is done every 6 months when you're eligible. So when I say that, it means each rank you have to be within that rank within a certain amount of time. So for example, it's automatic E1, E2, E3. It's like 6 months to E2, 9 months to E2, E3, and then you have to be E3 for 9 months in order to make it to E4 or be eligible for the test. So the biggest thing that you can affect is going to be your score, and that's major because you will have references which are applicable to your job, which you'll study these really boring, dry books of material that are just sad and no one wants to study them, but you need to because you want to make rank. Now, these tests are done every 6 months and the references change every 6 months. So you have to, if you didn't advance, keep studying new material. There will be some stuff that is similar, but it will change in some way, shape, or form in small increments. The score is based out of 80 and is based on a curve, so meaning the person that out of those 175 questions scored the most gets the highest score of 80, and then it goes off of that further. If you don't know what a curve is or being graded on a curve, just Google it so you can understand that concept, because I try and explain it to people in the Navy. They don't get it. I don't know. YouTube it, watch a video. It's pretty simple, but that's not what this video is about. The next major factor is going to be your performance mark average. So every year, you're going to get what's called an eval or evaluation. And what happens is this is a grading that is done by your senior enlisted people, and they are going to rate you against other sailors. Now, in order to compete against other sailors, on the lower level, you should be doing what are called collateral duties, meaning doing extra work beyond the work of what your work was. Yeah, the Navy is the only branch that does that. But it's also because of the necessary evil of when you're on a ship, all you have is the people or the crew that you're with. So we end up taking on other tasks or other jobs, and that's where collateral duties come from. That is one thing you need to do. Extra type of work that could be beyond it. It could be as simple as being the morale, recreation, welfare person, or setting up stuff for little kids or something. I don't know. But doing collateral duties that are extra and you have a title such as a position as a president of some association, that's what you got to do. For the evaluation, I want to make sure you guys know, not only are you going to be wanting to do collateral duties, but you're going to want to be doing volunteer events and helping out the community. So if you have a church organization or a youth group or something that you help out with, that could be counted as hours towards your evaluation, which will make you look even better. The other thing is You should be taking classes, getting qualifications. You should be able to stand certain watches. You should be able to be proficient in your job. You should be doing as much as possible during that whole year, because at the end of it, it's going to be you against the other sailors in your division, or possibly with an entire ship, depending on how your command is going to do it. And this is probably one of the most debatable and intense conversations we have in the Navy, and it is about evaluations. And it's because there is so much subjectivity to how people are graded or ranked. And sometimes it's fair, sometimes it's not. But I mean, it's a human system. We're all humans, so there are going to be errors, and each system of each branch has its own benefits and its own downfalls. Next are awards. And a lot of people don't understand how you get awards, but awards are key because they are going to give you points. There are certain awards that are worth a certain amount of points depending on the ranking of which they are. So you guys just coming in, you're probably going to get what are called letters of accommodation, which are letters signed by someone that is 07 or above that has said, thank you for doing X, Y, and Z. You get a point. All these PMA, or performance mark average, which is your evaluation, your test score, the awards, they all come out to what's called a final multiple score. Every point counts, so you're going to want to get as many points as possible, because every 6 months there is a cutoff score, which is calculated by the Navy by looking at how many people can advance in quotas. So just be ready to get as many points as possible. Now, say you don't get picked up for the advancement cycle because you didn't have enough points. On that test that you're going to take, you have to get a 75% percentile or higher, and you will get what are called pass but not advanced points. And when that happens, it gives you more points. It's usually about 1.5. I'm not sure the calculation of that one, but you're going to get a couple points, and when those add up, they could help you in the long run continue on. Some people are just in such a rush to just make rank that they forget that it's not just making rank. You have to have skill, you have to have leadership, you have to have a lot of other things, because we can't just shoot everyone to the top and then think that they're going to be leaders. I was mad, for example, when I didn't make E5 for a while, but when I made E5, I realized how much better of a sailor, leader, how much I was more seasoned than other E5s that made it really quick, because when I did get to E5, I still surpassed them because of my maturity, my skill set, and it didn't really matter that it took me that long, but I grew into my position. So don't be in such a rush to make rank. This is more so informational, so that way you guys are aware. Lastly, the last thing that will give you points here is education. Okay, I push education harder than I think most people do. On the enlisted side, for a associate's degree, it is 2 points. For a bachelor's degree, it's 4 points. That's it. You don't get anything for a master's degree. I'm sorry. But if you do have a bachelor's, that's a big deal, because 4 points, there are tons of people that miss advancement within those amount of points. And there was a study within the past year done by the Navy Times, which I don't know how accurate that was, but it was about like 20% or 18% of people that had education points picked up because of education points. So getting your associates or having your bachelor's degree will help you even if you're coming in as enlisted. And if you do have a bachelor's, you probably should be looking at commissioning programs. So, but education is really important. And when I say that, I say college credits should be your main focus, and I say that because you should be working towards becoming an officer. There are other educational things you could be working on, such as a certification or some kind of military-related certification, which is education, but they're not going to translate to civilian world. So you should probably just do that work, but put it towards a college degree. My personal opinion, coming as somebody that got my degree, I got my degree when I was in for 7 years. So it shows that if you're willing to put in the work, you're able to get those points. You're able to possibly commission. Cross my fingers, eventually. Those are some things that you guys can do in order to try and advance within the Navy. I know that there's more information I could give you beyond what I just gave you. This is just the surface material. I could talk about the evaluation itself, the test itself, even more in depth if you'd like to see that. If you want me to talk more about the test or the evaluation, I could even make a whole video on that. If you guys want to know more about it, make sure you leave it down in the comments down below, and I'll make sure to make that video if I see the demand. As always, guys, if you guys have questions about the Navy or myself and you want to see my daily life, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, which are down below. I'm loving all the feedback there. And if not, you can always leave a comment down here as well. I mean, if you want to be lazy, but I appreciate you guys following me. Love it. As always, guys, I love you guys. See you next time. But I could have been